Thank you for the opportunity to interview for the role as a teacher at St Thomas's Primary School. I'm pleased to be able to share with you today why I'm so motivated to apply for this role and how within my teaching practice to date, multimodal teaching has become a key feature in my classroom, particularly when it comes to supporting our diverse students to become modern learners in the 21st century. Today, the panel has asked me to demonstrate how I'm able to cater broadly to the diverse learning needs and capabilities of a class of students in a teaching situation, and also to articulate my multimodal teaching pedagogy supporting this. I'll demonstrate how I can apply these strategies for a Grade 1 class of students, focusing on elements of the maths domain of the Victorian curriculum. From a broad perspective, I feel that it's important for all teachers, including myself, to reacquaint with the Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership that outlines several key teaching standards that identify professional responsibilities, one of which is to differentiate teaching to meet the specific learning needs of students across the full range of abilities. To successfully achieve this, we as teachers can adopt various multimodal strategies, including the integration of ICT to effectively enhance accessibility for students of diverse backgrounds. When I reflect on this task, I recall my recent Grade 1 class whilst on placement. This class had a variety of student needs, including one particular student requiring significant extension, and 3 students who were either diagnosed or going through a diagnostic process for autism spectrum disorder. The remaining students were within normal testing limits for their stage of learning. Within this class, the use of digital technology was prevalent and was seen to be of significant support to engage and support students, as well as consolidating learning during Grade 1 maths lessons. In particular, the educational application Bookit. I'm sure that many of you may have come across this application and you may very well use it as part of your multimodal suite. Bookit is an American application which gives students some autonomy around their learning, as well as the opportunity to engage collaboratively, particularly in the challenges that teaching staff can opt into. As a teacher, I'm always thinking of ways to engage with all of my students, and I've found that utilising Bookit in the classroom has given me another tool to inform my pedagogy, particularly when I cross-match my lesson plans against the high-impact teaching strategies, or HITS. The HITS strategy of multiple exposures to assist with differentiated teaching is certainly possible with Bookit. If I return to my example of students in my Grade 1 maths class, my students requiring repetition to the concept were able to have their Bookit quiz questions narrowed so that a refined number of questions and concepts were covered in their set. This contrasted to other students in the class who were ready for extension. The Bookit quiz questions for these students were able to involve more concepts and complexity, allowing all students to engage at a level appropriate for them. Here are some Bookit themes, sourced directly from the Grade 1 maths curriculum that you might like to look at. They demonstrate a number of different topics that students were able to engage with via quizzes. When assessing how using the Bookit application may be a good option for teachers and students alike for assessment, it's useful to look at Puentedura's SAMAR model, which explains that the augmentation element of the model links in best with the Bookit quiz structure. This is because it substitutes the traditional paper-based quiz, but can also add functional improvements, in this case visual elements and the ability to have progress monitored in real time as the quiz progresses. Formative assessment opportunities are a strength of this product. The Bookit tool allows teaching staff to monitor progress against a number of subject areas regularly throughout a unit during formative assessments. This is done predominantly through quizzes built into the game. The quiz results provide the teacher with real-time feedback and enough information to be able to identify areas needing consolidation and revision. Teachers can see raw data for individual students based on the number of correctly answered quiz questions. In the context of the whole class quizzing capabilities of Bookit, the topics supported the formative assessment are presented in a way that is potentially less intimidating than traditional assessment tasks. We can further tailor questioning based on more specific keywords for further consolidation or extension. When considering our responsibility as teachers using multimodal technologies in the classroom, it's imperative that students are provided with positive models in order to keep themselves and others safe. The digital technologies content descriptors found in the national curriculum for F-2 also emphasises safe online environments. The Bookit application is accessed via a school subscription and is password protected. Each individual game and quiz is opened via a code which the teacher generates. This ensures privacy as no external parties can access the session. When playing a game, students can use their first name or a nickname in the closed group, again supporting privacy. Teachers should be confident that they are utilising an application that has strong privacy and security functions in place. Of course, with evolving teaching practice comes a responsibility of the teaching profession to stay abreast of new pedagogies, technologies and implementation strategies. We know that under the AITSL teaching standards, we're required to engage in professional learning. How this looks practically is being able to identify your own learning needs and plan to be able to prioritise a plan to effectively address these gaps in knowledge. If I was successful, I'd look forward to developing and then sharing my skill set in multimodal learning with my colleagues through in-services and peer-to-peer learning opportunities so as to comply with the Australian teaching standards. This development would assist me to support our school learners to aspire to the Melbourne Declaration on the educational goals of young Australians, where successful learners are demonstrated by being creative and productive users of technology. As we're aware, Victorian teachers are required to undertake 20 hours of continuous professional development annually. In order to source opportunities for education, we can explore the Victorian Institute of Teaching website. The Victorian Institute of Teaching also recommends the Victorian Academy of Teaching and Leadership for recognised training and development opportunities. In conclusion, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to interview for this role and also to share my engagement with multimodal learning and its application to the classroom setting. I hope it's provided an insight as to how I would integrate it into my practice at St Thomas's Primary School.